Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Awesome, and welcome to the Ryan Awesome Show. Now, today on the Ryan Awesome Show, I'll be talking about Impact Wrestling for April 8th, 2021. Now, overall, man, it was an okay show. It was a decent show. You know, they were talking about hardcore justice. That's what the show was about. It was about hardcore justice. The build up to hardcore justice. Last minute matches added to hardcore justice. Kenny Omega showing up. That was also an important factor on the show. And yeah, and it's their first night on Thursday. So yeah, so that was Impact Wrestling. So yeah, this is the Impact Wrestling review on the Ryan Awesome Show for April 8th, 2021. And if you haven't done this already, man, what are you waiting for, dude? Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on that bell so you'll be the first ones to know when my next video will come out, because I'm here each and every single week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. And so yeah, we started off the show with a 6 knockouts tag team match. And it was Tenille Dashwood with Kaleb in our corner, and Nevaeh and Alisha Edwards versus Rosemary with Crazy Steve and Black Taurus in their corner, Jordynne Grace and Havok. And so yeah, this was good. We had a flatliner. We had a flatliner to Jordynne Grace from Alisha Edwards. And we had body slams to Alisha from Grace. And then we had Grace, she had hit a jackhammer on Alisha. And then she followed it up with a follow-away slam. No. That was Rosemary. Rosemary had a follow-away slam on Alisha. And then at one point, we had Crazy Steve and Black Taurus. They were outside the ring. And they had pulled out a table. And so they set the table outside the ring. And so, yeah. So the table, it did play a factor in this match. And so, yeah, we had a tope suicida to Kaleb from Jordynne Grace. A nasty one at that. And we had a draping neck breaker to Jordynne Grace from Dashwood. And we had a hot tag to Rosemary. She speared Alisha Edwards. And then we had an exploder suplex to Alisha Edwards from Rosemary. And then we had Rosemary. So yeah, we had Alisha Edwards. She was fighting back, hitting Rosemary with forearms. And then we had a double underhook bomb, like a double underhook, not a double underhook power driver, but like an underhook bomb, or inverted, not an inverted, but like a different version of the double underhook power bomb to Alisha Edwards from Rosemary. And then Nevaeh, she had broke up the pin. And then we had Havok and Nevaeh. They were going back and forth because remember, Nevaeh, she had turned on Havok last week. Nevaeh, she had turned heel. And so yeah, they were fighting. Havok and Nevaeh, they were fighting. They were fighting on the, on the ring apron. They were fighting on the ring apron, and then that table that was outside earlier, we had Nevaeh. She had Russian leg sweep. Havok right off of the ring apron, and so they both went through the table that was outside the ring. And then we had and then to end the match, we had Rosemary. She had hit her finishing move, the red. She calls it the red wedding to Alisha Edwards to win the match. It was like a F5. It looked like a F5 to me. But yeah, that was the name of the finisher, the Red Wedding to Alisha Edwards to win the match. So Rosemary, Jordynne Grace, and Havok, they won the match, and that was it. Good match to open up the show. And so yeah, that was it with the women's match. And so right after that, we had Matt Cardona. We had Gia Miller. She had interviewed Matt Cardona, and she asked him about Brian Myers, about why did he decline his offer on a match.
Matt Cardona, last we spoke, you issued a challenge to Brian Myers. And last week we heard the response to that challenge, which was no. So what is your response to this?
I'm a little confused with Brian Myers. He says I followed him here. He says I'm obsessed with him, which I'm not, right? But then I challenged him to a match to shut him up, to finish this once and for all. Win, lose, or draw, that would be it. But he said no. That doesn't put me in a bad mood. I'm happy because I don't want to fight him. didn't come here to fight him. I didn't come here to team with him. I came here for me. I came here for an opportunity. I came here to prove myself right, prove my fans right. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's the truth. So I went to Scott D'Amore. I said, Scott, give me a match with someone tonight. Someone who I can have a hell of a fight with, a hell of a match with, tear the house down with. And he didn't give me someone. He gave me something. So Jake, something, tonight, it's me and you one-on-one. And I know you're looking for your big break and your big opportunity, but it's not going to come at my expense. Because Jake, tonight I will prove why I am still here and why I am always ready.
And that was it. That was it from Matt Cardona. Very great promo from Matt Cardona. So it's gonna be Matt Cardona versus Jake something. They made the match, later that night. And so yeah, right after that we had a video, and they showed a video of a woman, and yeah, they had writing on a mirror. It looked like somebody had wrote something on the mirror with lipstick, and it said "Let's get wild," and it said coming soon to Impact Wrestling. So yeah, so we have a newcomer, and so yeah, I was hearing people saying it was Taylor Wilde making a return. It's Taylor Wilde. I'm not familiar on who she is. I don't know who she is, but people were saying it was Taylor Wilde. So I guess we'll see. And so yeah, right after that we had Deonna Purrazzo and Susan there backstage, and we had Susan. She was, she wasn't feeling good.
Are you okay? Do you know where we are, or do you know your name? Susan. Yeah, Susan. Susan.
I'm here to see you. Your time has come.
Oh, and that was playing like creepy music at the end, signifying the Su Yung character coming back. So yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that we had a match, and it was always ready. Matt Cardona versus Jake something. And so yeah, this was a good back and forth match. And so yeah, we had a shoulder tackle to Cardona. So at first they were filling each other out, trying to one up each other. And so we had Jake something. He had shoulder tackled Cardona, and we had a drop kick to Jake. And then Cardona at one point he was trying to go for a basement drop kick, and then Jake something he had moved out of the way, and he had caught him with a clothesline outside of the ring. And then Cardona he did ended up hitting the basement drop kick to Jake. And then they were going back and forth in the ring. We had Jake, he tried to suplex Matt Cardona, and then Matt Cardona, he had fought out of it and turned it into a neck breaker. And then Matt Cardona, he went for his broski boot. I don't think he called it the broski boot, but he hit the broski boot on Jake, and then Jake had kicked out. And then you had Matt Cardona, he tried to hit his finishing move, the radio silence, but Jake something, he had caught him with a power bomb. So yeah, that was really impressive, man. And so yeah, Cardona, he tried to go for his radio silence finishing move again, but Jake, Jake he had caught him again in a powerbomb position, but he didn't powerbomb him. And so they walked towards Jake, he had Cardona, he was walking towards the ropes, and so Cardona ended up hurricanrana Jake something out of the ring. So they both went outside the ring. They crashed and burned outside the ring. And so yeah, out of nowhere you had Brian Myers, the most professional wrestler, Brian Myers. He got involved in the match. He attacked Jake, and he attacked Matt Cardona. And so yeah, the match was a no contest, so the referee had ended the match. And so yeah, Myers, he had took out Cardona with a flatline on the stage, and then yeah, he had turned his attention to Jake, and so he had took Jake out. He had rammed his face into the steel steps, the corner of the steel steps, eye first. So he jammed his eye into the steel steps, and so yeah. And then Brian Myers, he had grabbed the microphone, and he said that, he accepted the challenge. He accepted the challenge in that, Matt Cardona, you're going to be a part of the roster cut when Hardcore Justice come. Not Hardcore Justice, Rebellion. He challenged him at Rebellion. So yeah, he said that he was going to be a victim of the roster cut. And so yeah, that was it with Brian Myers and that and the Matt Cardona and the Jake something match. And so yeah, right after that, we had Triple XL. That's Larry D and Acey Romero at Backstage, and they interrupted Trey Miguel. They confronted Trey Miguel. You know, it was Acey Romero. He said that he was asking Trey Miguel, "Are you ready to get your ass kicked?" And then and then Trey Miguel, he was like, "I don't know if you guys watched Impact last week, but I declined Sammy's offer. I'm not gonna team up with Sami." So he's like, "I don't know what you guys are watching, but I declined his offer." And so yeah, and that was it. That was it with that. And so yeah, they walked away. Oh yeah, they said that Trey Miguel, he was trying to, he was being a coward. They called him a coward or something like that along those lines. They called him a coward, and that he didn't have no passion because he didn't team up with Sami. And so yeah, that was it with that. And so right after that, we had Violent by Design. They spoke.
In every great war, there's important battles, important times in the history of struggle, strife. This movement will move forward. It's too important. We believe in it too much to allow it to fail. Violent by design. Last week, I lost to James Storm. But you, Diener, you failed. Diener, you failed. You failed yourself. You failed the group. And I know that you know that with failure comes consequences. Consequences that you've accepted. Consequences that are necessary. I know that you can see the big picture. When you fail, that's when the disease is the most aggressive. That's when it has opportunity. So we're not going to fail tonight. We're going to seize the opportunity of the day. And you're going to do it alone. I know that you will not fail. I know that you understand how important this is. I understand that if you do fail, that you understand there will be consequences, and they will be more severe. But you're not going to allow that. Tonight, you're going to prove yourself. You're going to show them that this world doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us. To us.
And that was it. So yeah, Eric Young, he blamed, Diener for, Eric his loss to James Storm. He blamed Diener for it. And then yeah, he sent out Diener because he had a match later that night. He had a match later that night, and so he wanted Diener to go out there alone to prove himself. And so yeah, that's what it was. And so yeah, right after that, we had Triple XL as Larry D and Acey Romero versus Sami Callihan and Trey Miguel. Well, we didn't know at first did he accept the challenge or not. And so yeah, so Triple XL that came out first, and then Sami Callihan came out. I love Sami Callihan's theme music and his entrance. And so yeah, right after that we had Trey Miguel. His music had played the first time. He didn't come out, and then his music had played again, and he came out to the ring. He ran out to the ring, and then he took out Triple XL. And so we had a knee strike to Miguel from Larry D. So Larry D ended up fighting back. And then Miguel, Larry D he had took control for a little bit, and then Miguel started fighting back, and he took out Triple XL on his own. And then yeah, Miguel tried to go for a tope suicida, but Sami Callihan had tagged himself in. And so yeah, so Callihan he had took out Triple XL by himself. And so we had a huge sidewalk slam to Trey Miguel from Acey Romero. That dude, that was impressive, man. And then we had a springboard DDT to Miguel from, a springboard DDT from Trey Miguel to Larry D. And then Miguel he got upset that Callihan had tagged himself in again, so they were arguing the entire match. And so yeah, Miguel he wanted to punch Sami Callihan in the face, but Sami Callihan he had dodged it and just started using Trey Miguel as a weapon to take out Triple XL. And then right after that they started working together. And then we had a diving blockbuster to Acey Romero from Trey Miguel. And we had a double tope suicida to Triple XL. And then to end the match, we had Trey Miguel. He had locked in the submission move, that hourglass, to Larry D to win the match. So Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan wins the match, and that was it. Good match. I'm not really a fan of the opponents teaming up, tag teaming. Tag teaming and beating like legit tag teams. Because Triple XL, man, they've been on a losing streak, man. They've been on a losing streak. They like every time they in a match, man, they never win. They never win. Like they lose time and time and time again, dude. And Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan, they need to be alone, man. They need to be alone. Like Trey Miguel, he was already in a tag team, and you broke him away from a tag team. You took, the Rascals, Wesley and Nash Carter. They went to WWE, and that left Trey Miguel on his own. So you would think that they'll push him more as a singles guy, but they putting him in a tag team. So I'm not for it. These two types of guys, they need to be alone. They need to, because they're more of lone wolves. And so yeah, that was it with that. I don't know where it's gonna go. Will they go after the tag team titles, the Impact Knockouts, not the Impact Knockouts, the Impact Tag Team titles? Are they gonna go after the tag team titles? I don't know, man. Maybe. But yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that we had the Swingers Palace. And so yeah, we had the Swingers Palace. Yeah, Chris Sabin, he was there. James Storm and Chris Harris was there. Here we go.
You ever get blackjack? Hey, man. How you kids getting blackjack? Does anybody ever win around here? Oh, hey, man. We're winners just by being here.
This is swingers. Swing. Whoa. Hey, man, come check my match. You gotta get ready for us?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Good. I'll finish it for you. Let's go.
All right.
How far is this place? No. Hey. You sit back down here, take my chips. That's like $37.18 or something. Win us some beer money, all right, man?
Hey, man, I ain't right.
What?
Don't do that.
Do what? Hey, sorry. Guilty as charged.
There we go.
So yeah, that was it with the Swingers Palace. They left, Chris Harris behind. Sabin, he had a match against Deonna. And so yeah, they had left Chris Harris behind. And so yeah, right after that we had, speaking of Chris Sabin, it was Chris Sabin with James Storm in his corner versus Deonna with no Violent by Design, no Eric Young, no Joe Doering, no Rhyno. And so because remember earlier Eric Young, he wanted Deonna to go out alone and to fight to try to prove himself. And so yeah, we started off the match. We had roll-ups to Deonna, and then Sabin, he had targeted Deonna's leg, and we had corner punches and stomps to Sabin, and we had a scoop slam to Chris Sabin, followed by a knee drop, and we had a drop kick to Chris Sabin in the corner, and Sabin's neck had hit the turnbuckle, and then we had a double cross body, so both of them are knocked out, and we had a fisherman's driver to Deonna, and he kicked out. And we had a knee strike to Sabin, so Deonna, he was fighting back. And we had a power bomb. We had a power bomb off the rope to Chris Sabin. Sabin kicks out. And then Deonna, he started, so Chris Sabin, he had Deonna in a fireman's carry position. And so Deonna, he had went right after the eyes, so he raked Sabin's eyes. And so yeah, the referee could have disqualified. He could have disqualified Deonna for that, but the referee did not disqualify Deonna. And so yeah, right after that, Deonna, he had took advantage of the rake of the eyes, and so yeah, went for a roll up, and then Deonna, he had put his foot on the rope, and the referee had saw it, so the count, the pinfall doesn't count, and so right after that, we had Deonna, he was arguing with the referee, which ended up costing him in the end, and so Sabin, he had hit his finishing move. It kind of looked, it was like a version of the One Wing Angel, and to win the match. So that was it. So Chris Sabin wins the match. And so yeah, right after the match, we had Eric Young. Eric Young, he had interrupted via satellite.
Storm, you knew this was coming. You knew repercussions were coming. Now Deonna has done the right
trap was set. Diener sees the big picture. And now you will too. This man's blood is on your hands.
So they
Your hands, Storm.
Rhyno from behind.
Rhyno came out the...
So yeah, so Eric Young and Doering, they attacked, Chris Harris in the locker room in the Swingers Palace because that's where he was, and they ended up finding Chris Harris, and so they took him out. And then Rhyno, and it was just Rhyno. He had took out Sabin, and Storm, and that was it. And so yeah, right after that we had Ace Austin and the X Division champion Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. They spoke.
The story I gotta keep jumping through. Now Rebellion is gonna be this ridiculous three-way match, and it's
One thing.
something. Oh, something's funny.
Oh, you're talking about my smile.
Yeah.
See, I saved this for special occasions, Ace Austin, and today's a special occasion. You see, our match for Rebellion has been made. It is a triple threat match. Josh Alexander, TJP, and Ace Austin. I finally get my shot at that X Division championship. Guess what? It's a matter of time before it's around my waist. I don't care if I pin TJP or you.
Well, look, you already lost once.
Okay,
Get
well,
ready.
you should care, both of you, actually. You should care because I've beaten both of you twice. You 3 times, in fact. And you can consider this next piece, as far as Rebellion goes, a preview that you should review because it's not the only time you got your ass kicked. We kind of handed it to you last time and didn't look too bad doing it. We're not friends, okay? We're not tag team partners.
Yeah,
This is
I mean,
about
you
that
guys couldn't
championship.
really get on the same page, could you? Because you did lose that match. So I don't know what you think is gonna happen differently here.
Well, we can be on the same page right
Whoa,
now.
whoa,
I
whoa,
mean, you
whoa,
could
whoa,
try to get on the
guys.
same
Tommy Dreamer tries to break up
Stop.
everything.
You don't like him. You don't like him. You guys don't like each other. Great. You already have a partner. Wonderful. You go find a partner. You go find a partner. Match is made for hardcore justice. Mystery partners on your side.
Okay.
Good?
Hardcore Justice, night off.
I like that.
You can handle that. You
Easy.
can handle that. It's night off for me. I'm not worried.
Good?
That's fine.
Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, good. Hey, Dreamer's booking this one. It's all him. Fine. All right. Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
So it's a triple threat. So they all have to find a partner, a mystery partner, and it's a 3-way tag team match. So yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that, it was Eric Young. He had spoke to Tommy Dreamer. So Tommy Dreamer had caught up to Eric Young backstage, and so yeah, and Tommy Dreamer, he's not happy with what Eric Young become.
What the hell you want to think you're getting away with?
Yeah, I do actually.
You know, justice comes to everybody sooner or later.
Didn't you retire? Didn't you lose and then run off into the sunset like a punk?
I never said retire, but yeah, I lost. That's cool. You've lost too. You're also dropping people and hurting people who are my friends. You want to talk about your sickness and everyone has this disease and you're the cure. You're full of
The sickness is real. The sickness is everywhere, and you know what? No one is sicker than you. You're more contaminated than anybody. And sooner or later, I'm gonna get rid of you. For good.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You get rid of me.
Yeah.
What you can do with all your boys?
Yeah.
You by yourself.
Yeah. I look scared to you.
No, do I?
No.
Cool.
Okay.
I need a match. Hardcore justice. Why don't you get your boys and I got my boys? Because I got plenty of friends in this locker room. Cool? Tough guy?
Yeah, real
Why don't you end me? Why don't you cure my disease? Why don't you cure my sickness?
Just remember, Tom, that you brought this on yourself. You and your friends are in for a war. Remember, your idea.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a 4-way. So it's gonna be Violent by Design. All 4 members of Violent by Design versus Tommy Dreamer and partners of his choosing. So Tommy Dreamer, he booked himself into a match. And so yeah, right after that we had Jazz. She was looking back on her career. She was talking about, when she first started, training with the Junkyard Dog in Louisiana, my home state. And yeah, and her time in ECW, her time in WWE. Surprised that she mentioned WWE by name. And her career and everything, and a match against Deonna Purrazzo, and that was it from Jazz. And so yeah, right after that, we had Gia Miller. She interviews Deonna Purrazzo, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, the Impact Knockouts champion. And then she asked, Deonna Purrazzo, like, what does this match means to you? Like, what does this match with Jazz mean to you?
Deonna Purrazzo, after watching that, we know just how much this Knockouts title match at Hardcore Justice means to Jazz. What does it mean to you?
Oh, gosh, Gia, watching that package honestly makes me emotional. Seeing Jazz's career highlights reminds me of what it felt like to be a little girl watching women set the stage for real women's wrestling. Without women like ODB or women like Jazz, there would be no Knockouts division. There would be no Knockouts championship. There would be no Virtuosa. A 26-year-old Deonna Purrazzo in the prime of her career, getting ready for, quite honestly, what might be the match of my career. At Hardcore Justice, I'm building upon the foundation that Jazz has built. But what Jazz built in the past is crushed beneath the rubble of what I've built in Impact Wrestling. We are in the age of the Virtuosa. And brick by brick, I am building a new foundation for this new generation.
Well, some could say that this success is due to a lot of help from Kimberly and Susan. Now, from what we've heard, Kimberly will not be ringside with you. But will Susan or Sue?
You know what, Gia? I know you're here for the scoop. I know you want clickbait and tabloid journalism. But I've built the age of the Virtuosa on my back. And giving back to Jazz is my distinct honor. The only way to do right by Jazz is to walk into Hardcore Justice, woman to woman, by myself. I can't go out there and be defeated. I won't go out there and be distracted. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give back the only way that the Virtuoso knows how, and that is to retire Jazz.
And that was it. And yeah, I'm still going with Deonna Purrazzo. There's no way Deonna Purrazzo should lose. But knowing them, I think they might give the championship to Jazz because not anybody put their career on the line, dude. Like a lot of people, like most of the times when these people put their careers on the line, they end up winning. They end up winning the match. And so, yeah, I see them putting the title on Jazz, but I don't think they should put the title on Jazz. I think Deonna Purrazzo should remain champion because she's been dominant as a champion, and you know she haven't lost yet. She haven't even lost as champion, and they booked their champions to lose on the show, but Deonna Purrazzo, she been winning. She been winning, and winning. So they're like what reason is there to take the title off of Deonna Purrazzo if she's doing so good? I don't see no reason to take the title off of her. Like I don't see a reason to take the title off of her. And so yeah, that was it with that. And so yeah, right after that, we had Brian Myers. And yeah, Brian Myers, he was walking backstage, and then Tommy Dreamer, he had cut him. You know, he had, stopped Brian Myers.
Hey,
What?
so we did out there.
Yeah, pretty awesome. I think I'm the new innovator of violence around here, huh?
No, you're not. What you are is always pissing people off because you're bad Brian. Everyone's in a bad mood when you're around.
Okay, Tommy.
You're pissing so many people off. Jake something came to me and he wants a match against you.
Well, that's great. I don't know if you really saw what I just did out there. I accepted Matt Cardona's challenge at Rebellion. Cardona, Myers, roster cut. I'm all booked up. So, nice talk.
Wait a minute. I know you've heard the big news, Hardcore Justice. I'm the executive in charge of wrestling.
ECW?
Yes! And I'm gonna book you versus Jake something in the first ever Blind Games match.
What is a blind games match?
It's a hardcore match with both wrestlers being blind. It's a blindfold match.
Oh.
You know why that's never been done, Tommy? Because it's stupid. That's a horrible idea. Who books this crap?
The executive in charge of wrestling, ECW. You're stupid. Blind Games in your house.
A blind games match, dude. So it's gonna be a blindfold match. Yeah, a hardcore blindfold match. How are they gonna pull that stuff off? Like if they blindfolded, how they gonna pull it off? I don't even know, man. And they are stacking up this show. They are stacking up this show, Hardcore Justice. And I know why they are, because WrestleMania is on the same night. WrestleMania Night 1 is on the same night as Hardcore Justice. Dude, they are not gonna beat WrestleMania, man. More people will be watching WrestleMania over Hardcore Justice. I'm sorry, man. But that's the truth. But yeah, like yeah, I don't know why should this be a pay-per-view match? You should have just saved this match for Impact Wrestling on Thursday. You should have just saved it for next Thursday instead of adding this match on a show. A blindfold hardcore match. Like why like why does this match need to be a stipulation match? Like Brian Myers, he only attacked Jake something once. He attacked him during the match, and that calls for a hardcore match. I don't know, man. But yeah, so yeah, this is the card for Hardcore Justice. So yeah, it's gonna be. So yeah, it's gonna be Ace Austin and a partner of his choosing versus TJP with a partner of his choosing, and versus Josh Alexander with a partner of his choosing, in a three-way tag match. And so our next match for Hardcore Justice is gonna be a number one contenders knockouts weapons match. And it's gonna be Jordynne Grace versus Susan versus Tenille Dashwood versus Havok versus Rosemary versus Alisha Edwards. And then we have another match, and it says Chairly Legal, and it's gonna be Shira versus Hernandez. And then we have the title. Of course, we have the title versus the career match. Deonna Purrazzo will be putting her Knockouts Championship on the line, and Jazz will be putting her career on the line. So yeah, that should be a good match on the show. And then we have the Hardcore War, whatever that is, man. Maybe like a War Games, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Hardcore War, and it's gonna be Violent by Design. That's Eric Young, Diener, Joe Doering, and Rhyno versus Team Dreamer, and three partners of his choosing. And so yeah, they already announced the partners. So I'm gonna have to go and check and see who it was. And so yeah, that's the card for Hardcore Justice. And yeah, so I'm about to look it up right now. Who is the partners? Oh yeah, they added some more matches. So it's gonna be Doc Gallows with Carl Anderson versus Black Taurus with Decay in his corner. And so yeah, because they had a run in backstage. And yeah, Brian Myers versus Jake something, and then blindfold match, the blindfold hardcore match, or the hardcore blindfold match. And we have Team Dreamer. Yep. So yeah, that was it with that, with the match card. And so yeah, right after this we had the main event, and it was Willie Mack, Eddie Edwards, and Rich Swann, the Unified Impact World Champion, versus the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, and Kenny by God Omega, the AEW World Champion, with Don Callis in his corner. But this match, man, this match was all over the place, dude. It was all over the place. With these multi-man matches, dude, I cannot take notes in this match. So I got as much as I could in this match. And so yeah, so Callis, he came out first and he introduced Kenny Omega. He called him a wrestling god. And so yeah, he introduced Kenny Omega, Kenny by God Omega. And so Kenny Omega, he came out to the ring. And the Good Brothers and Omega, they went after Mack, Swann, and Edwards. And then at one point, we had Omega. He accidentally dove onto the Good Brothers outside the ring. He was trying to dive on Swann, but Swann had moved out of the way, and he ended up catching the Good Brothers with it. And we had a tope suicida to Carl Anderson from Eddie Edwards. And then everybody in the match started going for outside dive moves. And then we had a triple team move to Carl Anderson from Mack, Edwards, and Swann. And so yeah, the heels, they ended up taking control of the match. And then we had a missile drop kick to Gallows from Edwards. So the babyfaces were fighting back. And we had a hot tag to Willie Mack. He took out Anderson on Omega with a double standing moonsault. And we had European uppercuts to Willie Mack from Carl Anderson. And then Mac and Gallows, they were going back and forth with strikes. And we had a big boot to Willie Mack from Doc Gallows. And we had chops to Willie Mack from Omega. So Omega was chopping Willie Mack, and Mack, he was no selling it. And we had a double clotheslines to Omega and Anderson from Willie Mack. And so we had a hot tag to Swan. He took out everybody with drop kicks and hurricanranas. And then we had a hurricanrana to Eddie Edwards. Yeah, a hurricanrana to Eddie Edwards from Kenny Omega. And we had a triple T move to Edwards. It was a triple splash. They moved that they done in New Japan Pro Wrestling, a triple splash. And we had a, everybody there were, it was a cradle neck breaker. Kenny Omega, he had hit someone with a cradle neck breaker. And then, everybody there were hitting each other with their signature moves. And then Omega, he ended up hitting Willie Mack with a V-trigger. So he caught him with a V-trigger. And then Omega hit Swan with a Snapdragon suplex. And then Omega, he tried to hit Swan with the One-Wing Angel. The commentary team were yelling, One-Wing Angel, One-Wing Angel, One-Wing Angel. And so, Swan, he had fought out of the One-Wing Angel. And so, he went for the 450 splash. He hit the 450 splash on Omega. And so Don Callis, who was outside of the ring, he had grabbed Swan. He had grabbed him and dragged him out of the ring, stopping the count. It could have, the referee could have ejected Don Callis from ringside, but he didn't. And so, and so Carl Anderson, he had a TKO on Swan, and then Swan, he had kicked out of that. And so, so the baby faces, they were fighting back. They ended up taking control of the match. And so to end the match, we had Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson, Eddie Edwards. They were going back and forth. And Eddie Edwards, he had hit the Boston Knee Party, his finishing move, the Boston Knee Party to Carl Anderson. And to end the match, we had Rich Swann. He had his finishing move, the Phoenix Splash, to Carl Anderson to win the match. So Rich Swann, Willie Mack, and Eddie Edwards, they win the match. And that was it. Great show. Great main event. A good show. And, the one thing, I got to say, one thing I didn't like about this match was the fact that Omega and Rich Swann touched each other. They touched each other. Instead of just saving it, you should have just saved the match. You should have just saved them. Because you already gave parts of the match away. Instead of just saving a match for a Rebellion, you just gave parts of the match away. So that's the only thing I didn't like about it. But it was still a good match. And so, man, that was it with Impact Wrestling. Decent show. It was a good show. And, man. And, if you like this video, man, what are you waiting for, man? Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button, there's a bell. Make sure you click on that bell so you'll be the first ones to know when my next video will come out, because I'm here each and every single week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Awesome Show. And man, and I'll see you guys on Saturday. I'll see you guys on Saturday. I decided to do my Impact Wrestling review first because Hardcore Justice is on Saturday. So I wanted to get that out before Hardcore Justice. And Saturday, I'm going to be here for AEW Dynamite. I'm going to do my review. I did watch AEW Dynamite. It was a good show. It was not better than TakeOver. But, So, I watched the show. I'm going to do a review. I'm going to have the review up before WrestleMania starts. I'm going to try to get it up before WrestleMania starts. And, man. So, AEW, Impact Wrestling. Well, Impact Wrestling is going to be up. So, AEW Dynamite is going to be up before WrestleMania. And, man. And Saturday for WrestleMania Night 1. And Sunday for WrestleMania Night 2. And then I'm going to somehow get the Hardcore Justice pay-per-view in there too. Either on Sunday or Monday. It's going to be either on Sunday or Monday. And, man. And, follow me on Twitter at Ryan Awesome Show. If you missed last week's episode of Impact Wrestling review, is going to be right up here. The video is going to be right up here in this corner. And the link to that video is also going to be in the description down below. So make sure you click on that link. Or you can click up here if you missed the last week's review of Impact Wrestling. And, man. Once again, guys, thank you for the support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And, man. And this has been the Ryan Awesome Show. Take care, stay safe, and that's.